you find a lot of advice from people talking about rebalancing and asset allocation. Welcome to Subramani. Please subscribe. We're just hitting the 10,000 mark. The question is, do you benefit by rebalancing or don't you benefit by rebalancing? Let us look at rebalancing from 2 points of view. One is the rich big investor rebalancing because he thinks he should take profit from the assets which are doing well and put it into those assets which have better potential. So why does Samir Arora do asset allocation? Why does Shankar Sharma do? Why Rakesh Jhunjhunwala does? Why does Ramdev Agarwal do in their personal portfolios? I am not talking about funds which they manage, or maybe even in the funds which they manage. They are doing to enhance returns. That is one reason to do. The second set is the normal people. Normal people are not necessarily doing asset allocation and rebalancing to enhance returns. They might be doing it to protect their gains, right? You have invested in, say, some small cap fund which has given 60% return over the last 18 months. You realize 60% CAGR over last 18 months, which you think is a fantastic return which you have got. Your expectation was something like 12. Therefore, you take some money off the small cap fund and put it into a large cap fund, or maybe you put it into debt if you need that money over the next 2-3 years, right? Are you trying to improve your return? Perhaps in the longer run, because you protected some of your gains, but your aim is very clear. You are not like those big investors who are trying to enhance their returns. You are trying to protect your downside. You're saying, I have made so much profits, let me take some portion of it and put it into assets which have a lower standard deviation. It is assumed that the large cap fund will have a lower standard deviation than a small cap fund. Therefore, you're taking your money from a very profitable but very volatile asset class and putting it into an asset class which is perhaps less volatile, but also the one which gives you lesser return. So there is enough justification in the world for, and a lot of research in the world which says by doing a periodic rebalancing or asset allocation change, which is what rebalancing achieves, you will always protect your downside. Please understand, you will protect your downside. It does not mean you will enhance returns. Very simple. You are something like 50% in debt and 50% in equity. Equity goes up to 65-70%. So you remove some money from equity and put it into debt. After some time, you again find that 60-65% in equity and you're still 35% in debt because equity has done well. Now, if you had not done the asset allocation, maybe you would be 90% in equity and 10% in debt, which means you would have got a superior return. Yes, but over a different time frame, right? There could have been some losses. When there are some losses in equity, maybe you redeem some debt and put that money into equity. That is also possible. That might also, that move may increase your returns over a 10-year period, but show no impact over a 3-year period, right? So please understand, why are you doing your rebalancing, which is revisiting your asset allocation. I am not saying you should not do the first thing, you should only do the second thing. No, it is possible that you want to enhance your return. So you say, I think small caps have done very badly over the last 2-3 years. I've got minus 12%, minus 5% kind of return. This is a great time when I want to remove some money from debt and put it specifically into small cap funds. Perfectly possible. So you're doing it the other way. This time you're trying to improve your returns. That's also possible. But largely, if you are not in the super rich professional investor class, you're doing rebalancing for downside protection more than you're doing it for a greater upside, right? So you should start with the premise of knowing why you're doing rebalancing or why you're looking at your asset allocation again. However, please understand that once a person is retired, asset allocation is more or less compulsory because of two things. One, as I said, it is a great risk reduction tool. It will give you more peace of mind. But when you're young, when you're say 25 years of age and you make a loss, well, you wouldn't have had much money to lose. Maybe you invested 5,000 rupees and that has become 3,000 rupees. So what you lost is just 2,000 rupees. However, when you're 70 years of age or 68 years of age and you have say 3 crores or 4 crores, even losing a small portion can hurt you. Secondly, you may need that money for during your retirement. You never know, because it could be higher retirement expenses. You timed it perfectly. You knew you had so much money for retirement. You have timed it, which means there is no chance of wanting to lose money, because you are not going to add to the corpus. The person who is continuously investing is happy when the market goes down. It means he'll get more number of units, he'll get more number of shares. But for a retired person, that pleasure is also not there. When he sees something coming down, it is his net worth which is coming down, and he has no clue whether it will go up again, right? So this is the uncertainty. So retired people have a greater reason to do asset allocation and rebalancing than people who are young and still in the accumulation stage. The other advantage of for a retired person to do this is he can source cash flows. For example, I've always held that when you retire, you should put your money in different buckets, so that you use bucket number 1, which is the most liquid, bucket number 2 less liquid, bucket number 3, and bucket number 4. Bucket number 4 being completely equity or debt funds, gilt funds, which are more than 10, 20, 30 years duration, where you take the duration risk. Right, that is your bucket number 4. However, I also feel that while withdrawing per month for your expenses, it is nice to withdraw from equity bucket also. Like currently, if equity markets are booming and you don't want to reallocate painfully, the best thing is to start doing an SWP from maybe a small cap fund, because it has given you 60% return and you have not done an asset allocation, reallocation, rebalancing. So then it's a good thing to withdraw money from there. So apart from giving you peaceful nights, it also gives you a source of cash flow. The cash flow at that age is coming from capital gains and not from capital. So it's perfectly all right to remove some money from your capital gain. So let's say 2 years there is a bull run. So for 2 years you keep on withdrawing money from your equity on a monthly basis, say 35,000, 40,000 rupees a month. What happens is your bucket number 1 and 2, because they are untouched and maybe they are getting 8-9% return, all are on growth plan. So suddenly you find that bucket number 1, which was your expenses for 5 years, it's now expenses for 8 years, because 2 years you have not touched it, and the returns from that, which in terms of his growth NAV going up, is the value of your bucket number 1 and bucket number 2 has increased, because you were trimming the growth in the equity that was happening, that allowed you to ignore the bucket number 1 and 2. This also means one thing, that you are not dependent only on the dividends that you get and on the systematic withdrawal plans that you were to do from debt. So what can happen is you have now got different sources of cash flow apart from current income. So maybe your current income is enough, but that can get reinvested, right? So if you're debt light, that money can go with an in ELSS, you can go to a bank deposit. But if you have too much of debt, then that money can go into ELSS and increase your equity, right? So this is that is one more thing you can do. And because you're on a systematic withdrawal plan, you're paying less taxes, but you have got to pay tax now on your dividend income. So that is something which you can't avoid if you have a direct equity portfolio. Even for a minute, I'm not suggesting sell your equity portfolio and put money in mutual funds. If you are getting better returns, if you're getting greater fun, greater pleasure in your own money management skills, by all means do that. But understand that during retirement, the asset reallocation or rebalancing is very useful also to reduce stress. Thirdly, you can maybe talk about it, record it, and give instructions to your family as to how you were doing it and what should be done after your death. You can give those instructions because you're following a logical pattern which can be written down. If you're doing it intuitively, it's very difficult to write it down. Also, if your brain power ceases to be very good after a particular age, for somebody it could be 65, for somebody it could be 75, for somebody it could be 95. I'm not getting into at what age. then again a fixed pattern, a simple pattern, or at that stage saying, look, I now don't need better returns, it's fine if all my money is in bank fixed deposits and annuities because I'm 85 years of age. Perfectly possible. So apply your mind and then decide what asset allocation to do, how often to review and all that. And also understand that asset allocation is not always for returns enhancing, sometimes it is for downward protection. Thank you.